One and welcome to Food Preservation Live Chat with Anna from Fermented Homestead, Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry, and Lisa from Sutton's Days. It is good to see everyone here on this wonderful Saturday. I don't know about where you guys are. It's hotter than Hades here. So, yeah, I'm kind of glad to be, you know what? You live in hell. That's your choice. Okay. Right? Okay. And yeah, not normal for Michigan. So it's a little warm, but how are you guys doing?
Good. Not hot. It's only going to be 92 today, so
Yep.
we're like ready to start pulling out the sweaters.
We're getting like some off from the hurricanes, so it's not been very hot lately. It's been like upper 70s, lower 80s. Like it's very uncharacteristically nice. And tons of rain.
Right. We had 2 days that were like that where it got really cool. And I mean, I'm like, open the windows. Oh my God, it was so good. But now it just turned around. Okay, so we're going to jump right into this. Got the Cosori 6 tray this week. Looking forward to getting started. Congratulations. Hang on. Question. Do I need an oxygen absorber in a Mylar bag for dehydrated items?
No. However, two things. Mylar bags will not work in a vacuum sealer unless you have a special kind of Mylar bag, or you do some tricks that you can look up on YouTube where they kind of hack how to vacuum seal a Mylar bag. But if you want it sealed and the oxygen removed, then you do need to put an O2 absorber in it. But remember that it's not going to just suck up the bag, so it may not look like it's vacuum sealed, but it will take the oxygen out. But if you're doing it for short term, definitely don't need one. If you want it for long-term storage and you want the O2 gone, then yes, you need to use one.
I have a question, follow-up
question
on that. When you say that the vacuum sealers don't work with a Mylar bag, you just mean sucking the air out.
Sucking the air out. They will seal it. They will not take the air out.
Okay.
Yes.
And it depends on the vacuum sealer, though, because I had a food saver that wouldn't even seal Mylar. Yeah. So honestly, I mean, for the trouble that it's worth, get a flat iron like Anna showed in her video today and some oxygen absorbers and be done. It's way easier. Way easier. Yes, Anna's in her vehicle. If prompted, she will tell you in front of what businesses and what state, but no, she's not.
She won't. I told you guys. It doesn't mean I'm going to tell the world.
Come on. You don't want to tell everybody?
No.
Everybody. Okay, so hit us with your questions. We are answering canning questions, dehydrating questions, fermenting questions, and we may or may not be able to answer freeze drying questions because we got 2 newbie freeze dryers. So, yep. Scrap Metal Racing, thank you very much. You are a gem and I appreciate you. Dude. Let's see. So Melissa says, I make cucumber chips in the dehydrator. Best way to keep them from sogging out so fast. I season them with dill pickle seasoning or sour cream seasoning, sometimes in ranch.
Vacuum seal your jar.
Just vacuum
or use a moisture absorber in it. But because they're really thin and they're susceptible to moisture, you're going to be hard pressed to ever keep them really good and crisp all the time. And every time you open the jar, you're introducing new moisture into it. So either use a moisture absorber or 2, or just vacuum seal it every time. It's quick and easy if you have one of the little handhelds. And I should have picked mine up. And
I love
because it's so easy just to pick it up, vacuum seal, put it away. You don't have to drag out the big machine, and it's worth having down the road. But yeah, just do those 2 things.
Yeah. Anna, are you drinking sauerkraut juice?
Not today. I was just drinking well water. Well, filtered well water because I
filtered well water
tested after being sick for months and figured out I was being poisoned by my well.
Are you kidding me?
What was in it?
It starts with a C. It's a bacteria, and I was the only one being affected by it, so that's why it took me so long to figure out what was going on. But as soon as I started filtering it and got it tested, I was like, oh,
that explains it. Yeah.
So until we find a way to stock our well, I'm just filtering it.
Yeah. Darcy has taught me so much. Your videos are informative. Thank you for your work and sharing your knowledge.
Well, thanks.
Agreed.
Yes. Please mention the crazy trend of pressure canning with no liquid in the jar. It's called dry canning, and it is also called Russian roulette and poisoning your family and stupid. Okay, so yeah, don't do it. Just don't do it. The liquid's in there for a reason. Follow true and trusted methods. I love the freeze dryer. Banana chips are easier to eat, softer on the teeth. Are they really? Because I have I have a can open of the freeze dried banana chips, and I chomp down on one, and I'm like, wow, that's actually kind of hard. And the ones that I remember getting from the store, which I have learned through Darcy, have oil or something on
They're
them, right?
fried. They're usually fried.
Fried, yeah. So I thought those were easier.
Well, if she doesn't freeze dry them completely, I mean, you can also freeze dry less than, like when you dehydrate, you don't have to dehydrate to the point it's crisp. You can dehydrate less. And so they might be a little softer and chewier, but they're not necessarily shelf stable forever.
Not like freeze dried.
Well, in freeze dried, you can also freeze dry
them for less.
When it goes into the dry process, you can dry it less time, so it's not fully dry, and they can be a little chewier. They're just not going to be suitably good for long-term
storage.
But it also just depends on, you know, what she's used to before compared to what she's used to now, so that may make a difference.
Right. Vacuum sealing crackers is good for very, 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 very short time.
Right.
It does not matter what you do or what the videos out there say. And I did it because I saw videos that said, hey, yeah, these are good 10 years later. Well, okay. They have an oil in them. They go rancid. They actually smell like paint thinner. And it sucks. So it's unless you're going to use them for a very short time. Yeah, no.
We've discovered anything that is fried does not last very long.
I assumed because it was baked. A cracker. Is a cracker fried?
Is it baked? Maybe it's the oil. I don't know, but like we've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Like a year later, it's just gone.
You can't go anywhere near. You open the jar and it does smell like paint thinner. It's horrible. My grandson discovered gardening this year. Yay! Okay, planted the hottest peppers he could find and is now dehydrating a bumper crop. Can we just store them in canning jars, or do we need oxygen absorbers or desiccant?
You don't need anything. As long as it's fully dry, conditioned, and stored in a jar that is the correct size. So don't do like some giant jar and only have this much in there. Correct size jar. You don't need anything else. Vacuum sealing can be helpful. O2 absorbers can be helpful. Don't use them together, but you don't need them.
You don't need them. And conditioning, quite simply, is very simple explanation is that you just put it in a jar and check it out for a week. And if you see any moisture developing, it's not dry.
Shake it up.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Shake it so that you can see that things aren't sticking to the jar or to each other. And if they are, put it back in the dehydrator.
Right. Dehydrated frozen veggies, put them in pint jars. Do I need oxygen absorbers to vacuum?
Same answer.
Yeah, same answer. Where's Phil and my moonshine? Phil's outside, but he's been making some watermelon moonshine. That is good. Yeah. I dehydrated cucumber chips and they tasted terrible. What did I do wrong?
You didn't like them. Not everybody likes every project. Did you season them? So seasoning can help a lot, but not everybody's going to like everything. So you didn't do something wrong. You just didn't like it.
Is it possible to freeze dry eggs?
Yes. Have you done it yet, Anna? I haven't looked.
That was the first thing I did.
Okay. Well, then Anna's got a video on it. I haven't done it yet. So Anna's got a video. Go look at Anna's video.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't have a video?
I thought you did.
No, I just did them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You can freeze dry eggs. Yes. I have not done it yet, though.
You're making me question my sanity if you saw it. You saw it.
Did I do that? I'm not sure if I did that. Yeah.
The last 4 months have been such a whirlwind for me. Like, I don't even remember half the stuff I've done.
Yep.
Do I need to be concerned if my sourdough starter separates?
You don't need to be worried. You just need to change it out. It means it's gone too long. And it's starting to develop a hooch on the top. If it's like black or smells alcoholic, just pour off the hooch and then just turn over. If it's separating, you're going too long between feedings.
Do you not commonly vacuum seal Mylar bags after freeze drying?
I don't use Mylar. Anna's going to be different because Anna does her own thing. I don't use Mylar bags for anything because I don't like them. If I can't see the food, I'm never going to use it because I need to see everything, which is why I have all of my stuff right here. So I don't use Mylar. Anna?
We do use Mylar for like long-term storage stuff, but we don't vacuum seal it. We just put an oxygen absorber in it.
And it does the vacuum sealing on its own.
Exactly.
Yep.
And we seal it. We seal it.
Right. I think he tried a coffee moonshine. I just don't remember what the results were. We soak coffee beans for like a really long time. What kind of handheld pressure jar canner is the best. What?
What? There's
There's no such thing as a handheld pressure jar canner.
Yeah, this is a vacuum sealer. It's not a pressure canner. And it's not a pressure jar canner. So you cannot use this on anything that you intend to have wet food on the shelf. If you have to pressure can it or water bath can it, this does not work. This is for dry food only, except in the fact that you can use it for wet food that you're going to put in the refrigerator to extend the shelf life a little longer, so you can have it for 2 weeks instead of 1 week. I use a Kitool. I'm sorry, Lisa, am I stepping over you on your toes? I use a Kitool. It's Kitool. I went and tested a bunch of different kinds to find the best one. This is the one I use. But yeah, there you go.
And I like the Food Saver one, the handheld Food Saver the best. I use that thing is always. I saw somebody mention it in the comments, how their something is always on their counter. That one is always on my counter charging because I use it all the time. How long can I freeze my peppers before they're no longer safe to can? When you freeze them, you stop any and all anything. So forever, but they're, not really. So just, yeah. Now I don't know what you're expecting to get out of them, Grace. I mean, are you just canning peppers for the sake of canning peppers? Because if they're pickled peppers, you might be really disappointed with the texture. But yeah, otherwise, freezer is not a problem. What's the best way to make jerky?
In a dehydrator?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm not understanding, Tara. Are you asking what's the best kind of marinade to put on it, or the kind of protein?
That's a matter of taste.
Yeah. So you just put it in the dehydrator.
You can dehydrate it. You can smoke it.
Yeah.
We like smoking it better than dehydrating it, but yeah. Does anyone have experience of dehydrating red or black currants?
I don't, only because I don't have access to them, but they could be done.
I was alarmed to find that sultanas and raisins have sunflower oil on them. Got some in date ones that were rancid. What are whatever? They put sunflower oil on raisins. I am disabled. Father 76 is my caregiver. I recently bought a water pressure canner, and I still have my first vacuum saver. And it tries, but it's the old and tired like me. It happens. They wear out. In your opinion, how much flavor change do you notice before canning and after?
It's mostly a texture.
It's, if anything, it's cooked meat. So the flavor change is going to depend on what you use it for. I don't tend to season my meats in the jars. So if you've ever tried canned chicken from the store, commercially canned chicken, you are going to love home canned chicken. It is so much better.
And vegetables are just softer.
Vegetables are they're soft like canned vegetables are. Yeah. So there's no flavor change. Okay, so can you dehydrate canned veggies like peas and canned beans?
You can, but okay. But I'm going to be really honest with you. Most of it doesn't turn out all that great, especially if you think that you might even use it on its own, even less than fresh. Like, for the most part, dehydrated vegetables work best when you put them in things because the texture doesn't always come back. Canned vegetables that have been dehydrated are even less pleasant to the mouth feel. I guess I don't know how better to say that. So canned beans work really great because they work for meals in a jar. You can make refried beans from them. They're really easy. But for me, canned veggies don't taste as good as doing fresh veggies in dehydrating. But yes, they can be done. However, if you're doing it just because you come to that Best By date, that Best By date means nothing. Those cans will last for years. You don't have to do it just because of the date.
Right. I have lemons I'd like to dehydrate. Can I add sugar to them and make more of a sweet sour treat instead of just using water?
I do them in a syrup, like do a simple syrup soak in them, and that will work better than just putting sugar on the outside.
I just switched from a Nesco 400, whatever, to a 700 watt Nesco. What difference should I expect in performance?
Your stuff will dry faster.
Whoosh. Okay. She's got the book out. Watch out. Jan's in the room. Okay, so page 136 in the New Ball book says vegetable soup to fill jars with hot soup to 1-inch headspace. The center says fill half full and add liquid. Yep. So Ball does their own testing, and so does the National Center. So if you die from it, you know who to sue. Okay? They each do their own testing. Do any of you make medicinal tinctures? We were just talking about one of them. I have goldenrod and I have mullein that is brewing right now. And I'm going to be doing elderberry as soon as I get berries. How about you?
Same. Except the elderberries, because I kill every elderberry plant that I've ever purchased.
You got to water the snot out of them.
No, you have to put them in the freaking ground.
Oh, well, that too. Okay.
No.
I just buy them, throw them aside, and forget they exist until like 3 months later. I'm like, oh, they're dead.
Okay. There you go. Yep. Okay, that's funny. My 4th year garden. Okay. Okay, so what can you do to vacuum seal flour? Why do you want to vacuum seal it? It serves no purpose at all. At best, in your very wildest dreams, it will last 2 years, regardless of what you do to it, unless it's in the freezer. So don't vacuum seal it. Just put it in an airtight container. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Does anyone know what the smallest freeze dryer is? I live with limited space.
Harvest Right has a small, I don't know how much the cubes look about the same size the Harvest Rights do. Anna, do they? Are they? They're a little smaller?
It's like, because the shape of the inside means it doesn't have to have as large of an outside.
Okay, it looked like it when I was looking, but okay. Yeah. So a cube, and I think there's one other version that's a little bit smaller, but none of them are tiny.
Mm-mm.
They're going to be sizable.
Bigger than a microwave.
Yeah.
Bigger than a college little refrigerator.
Yeah.
Mine's probably about the same size as that.
Like that mini refrigerator?
Yeah, maybe a little deeper, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely not
I was trying to come up with something that we could compare it to. Yeah.
If you have a really small living space, Nesco has a really decent, tiny little dehydrator. It's blue with all the knobs up on the top, and it's really small, and it works fantastically.
What is the best machine to have for power, dehydrator or freeze dryer?
You mean for power, like, are you solar power or electric?
Let's assume we're not going to see the answer in time.
The freeze dryer uses more electricity.
I saw it, Living Traditions did one where they compared them, and it wasn't really a huge difference.
Not huge, but it does. I mean, it's like,
a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're on solar, it might matter, but.
Okay, so I'm in the process of canning turkey. Congratulations. Someone just came up with 35 pounds of bacon ends. Let me be friends with them. Would you just vacuum seal the freezer for freezer, or I would just vacuum seal for the freezer. That's all you need to do. Yep. Anna, do you have a video on creating sourdough starter? I tried it once, but was not successful.
I do.
Okay.
It was back in, like, I think it was, what did I call that thing? Like, Fall into Sourdough or something. The collaboration I did a couple years ago.
Okay. Yep. I remember that. So if they go to your channel and put sourdough in the search, they should find it.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of those. It sealed my jars. Then a week later went unsealed. So when I used it, I always put a ring on to help keep it sealed.
Oh,
no, for dried goods, not.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, don't.
I misread that. I was like, no, throw it away.
Okay, so I don't know. Does Tepechi have alcohol in it?
Yeah, it does.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know what it is.
A lot of different factors as to how much, but it's not like you're not gonna get drunk off it.
It's pineapple.
Yeah.
Okay, so Millie has 2 vacuum sealers. She's not getting a seal. What is she doing wrong? Without seeing you do it.
Yeah. Check your rim. Check your rim to make sure there's nothing on the rim. Even when you put dehydrated foods in there, you can get dust on there that stops it. Mm-hmm. Check your lids to make sure they're actually straight and not bent, or any of the compound is bent, because then the air gets in there. Make sure that you're leaving the vacuum sealer on long enough, not when you think it's done, but just leave it going. And when you take it off, give it a second, 5 seconds or so, before you just pull it right off. Just give it a minute, then take it off.
I use a brake bleeder and the tops from a long dead vacuum sealer. And I mean, I know Darcy has a brake bleeder. I have one. It's not easier. I mean, it's a little work, but for when the world goes to hell in a handbasket, it's good to have. I keep finding rotisserie chicken on clearance for $2.50. Seriously. Okay. I have a video. If you go to my playlists that have canning meat, my canning meat playlist, I actually do a video. Because the meat is 100% cooked on the rotisserie chickens, you need to do half solids, half liquid. That liquid can be water, it can be chicken broth, it can be, any number of things. So definitely do that. And if you go through, you'll also find a video for the bones, because I do the bones for bone broth. So yeah, I love doing that. I think that's some of the easiest way to can.
It's my favorite thing in the freeze dryer too.
Yeah. Any reason the national site says to blanch beet greens and pressure can for 70 minutes? Because that's the way they tested it. That's the way they tested it.
They've got to break down those fibers, isn't it? Try to break down all the
I
fibers.
don't eat beet greens, but I mean, there's a purpose for it, and it's normally quality and safety. Yeah. My Fruit Saver steamer canner vents air from the side. Is that okay? Yes, it's meant to. It's meant to. You're good. Oh, golden raisins are still okay. Just call them golden raisins. Okay. I love it when you put big word question in front of it. It makes it so much easier. Can you explain the steam canner and what you actually can can in it? Yes, I have a video, Steam Canner 101. Definitely look it up. Okay. I walk you through putting the whole thing together, because putting it together was a pain. You can do anything that you can water bath can, as long as it does not exceed 45 minutes. And you use significantly less water. So I have not water bath canned anything since I got the steam canner. It's absolutely fantastic. Definitely check out that video. Limited space is what I need to know for the type of dehydrator. You got to find one that works for you. Okay. Hang on. I'm scrolling. I have so many cucumbers and I don't want to make them all pickles. Are they good dehydrated?
It depends on how you want them. I shred them to make tzatziki sauce. I shred them to add to stuff, like sneak it in things that people don't pay attention to, because I can do that. I powder it to add to powders, and I also make cucumber ranch dressing with it. That's how I use it most.
Okay. Because freeze-dried or dehydrated shredded cucumber is great for tzatziki sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you can make it, if nobody else in your house likes it, which nobody else in my house likes it, it's awesome.
I eat it all.
Yeah, it's all mine, and I don't have to make a gallon. Newbie fermenter, what's the easiest thing to start?
Sauerkraut. It's super easy. I have like 14 videos on my channel about it, and you really have to try to fail at sauerkraut.
Oh, challenge accepted.
I was about to say.
I mean, it can be done, but like it's the easiest one for newbies because it's the most forgiving.
I've got a friend that grows the most amazing cabbage every year. I mean, they're bigger than my head. They're huge. So I'm looking forward to getting a couple from her, and I'm going to give it a try this year.
Yeah.
I canned strawberries according to the ball book, but I only left 1 inch headspace instead of a hat. Okay, they are no, you have to use the correct headspace or they are not considered safe. The headspace is part of the equation of canning. The canning process and time is developed by how long it takes to get the excess air out of the jar. And that's based on half an inch headspace, not an inch. So no, they're not good. I would not use them. Just started her first tinctures. Yay. Is mimosa the tincture?
It's a tree.
Oh, okay. I'm like champagne and orange.
No, it's a really
that would be a tincture of some sort, wouldn't it?
That would be a tincture to me. Okay. Is that a tincture? Well, I guess it is. I would call that an extract. I wouldn't, because tincture, I guess I apply to medicinal uses. Am I?
Well, an extract is like, I think it's like you're actually extracting the oils from it. A tincture is you're adding it to oil or to alcohol and and doing it that way, I think.
Well, I mean, vanilla extract is just soaking vanilla beans in alcohol.
I don't know. Then I don't know. I'm gonna stop.
I'm only questioning this because I'm in the middle of doing a whole bunch of research on extracts. Yeah. I'm going to have to look up the difference now. Thank
I
you.
I think
Okay.
Anna's doing it for us.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay, scrolling. I've got chocolate peppermint that a friend gave me when I couldn't find any. So I'm looking forward to turning that into a extract. If the power goes out, have you ever dehydrated using the sun?
Nope.
And you have the perfect environment
I
for
have the sun, but I don't want to because it requires that you have to build a machine, or you have to lay it out on trays in the sun, and you have to make sure you have airflow, because if you have dead air and sun, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get good dried stuff. And we have way too many bugs that are going to land on it and poop in it and spit in it and lay eggs in it, and it's not for me. So
Okay. Do you prefer the small Nesco dehydrator you were talking about to the circular tray dehydrator?
For me, no. But the stackable will do more stuff. I am one of those people who don't like the stackables because I have to pay a little bit more attention to them than a cabinet machine, because you can, especially if you have a longer process, you have to rotate them. I am a put it in and forget it. So I don't prefer either of them over the other. They just have two different qualities to them that it'll depend on what you like.
Did you find the answer?
I did. An extract is far more concentrated. It's usually a 1-to-1 ratio, whereas a tincture is more of like a 6 or an 8-to-1 ratio.
With alcohol?
Yes, like the 8 being the alcohol.
Okay.
It's just the extracts are far more concentrated.
And can you do it with dried
Mhm.
herbs, or do they have to only be fresh?
No, you can do both.
Okay.
You'll just play with, like, sometimes they'll water down the alcohol if it's dried. That's what I've seen, but I'm by no means an expert.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll be too high of an alcohol percentage.
Time to go buy some booze. Okay. Have any of you made fruit cordials to dilute for a lovely, refreshing drink?
I haven't. Robert has.
No. What's the best ingredient to add flexibility into vegan wraps? Beans.
I was gonna say beef.
Vegan.
I was thinking gelatin.
So rude. Okay.
I was thinking gelatin and then went, yeah, no.
No.
I can't say that. Nope.
No, beans. Beans and spices. Quite honestly, the beans and the spices are what is going to add the most diversity into anything that you're doing. So when people go
to make them different, or flexibility to make them flexible, so that they wrap.
Oh.
Oh, are you creating?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, see,
that's why I was going to say gelatin, but then I went, nope.
I've heard agar gum is very similar to gelatin. I don't know if it would work the same way in that regard.
And if you do flaxseed,
is lentils and water, and you pour them really thin. You have to go through this whole process where you soak them for like 3 hours, and then you strain them, and then soak them for 3 hours. Put them in a blender, blend the snot out of them. Okay. You'll have to find my video anyway. And then, if you put them into a hot frying pan, like a crepe, I mean, super light. Okay. Then you will actually create a very flexible wrap, and you won't know that you're not eating bread. I was so wildly impressed with them. And it's lentils. Wah. Okay. Best way to store an avocado is in the freezer. If you know for sure that it's ripe. If it's not ripe, throw it out.
You can freezer it too, but most people don't have that.
Yeah.
The freezer.
We lost our home in the tornado in Mesa. I am so sorry. I wish I had preserved more food. We lost everything in the freezer. Preserve, prepare, live by this for many reasons. Yep. I'm sorry that happened. How do I reduce my odds for siphoning? I have a video on this too. So siphoning happens for a multitude of reasons. Your headspace is not correct. Your temperature is fluctuating. Your temperature is too high. I mean, there could be any number of reasons. So if you check out my channel and put in the word siphoning, it'll bring it up. But you reduce your odds for siphoning by following proper canning procedures. Yep. Can ugly chicken looking maybe the top having because no. Okay. So it's not burnt. It's not burnt. It's just the way that it looks. because it's basically been cooked. It's definitely not burnt. So you are, pardon me, you are good. You are safe. Everything's wonderful. Okay. I bought turkeys on sale. What is the best way to can it? Okay. If you like wrestling a raw turkey, then raw pack it. It's the easiest. If you want to cook the turkey first and then piece it out, then you have to do it half solids, half liquid. I have videos on both. So can I make broth to can with chicken and turkey bones together? Yes. Poultry is poultry is poultry. I live alone and I'm not a big bread eater. Is it possible to make sourdough in tiny batches without becoming wasteful?
Yeah, you'll just want to like you'll make like a bit at a time, and then in between you making the bread, you'll store the sourdough starter in the fridge, so you don't have to continue to feed it.
Good to know. Most frugal pressure canner is a Presto 16 quart, but for hardly anything more, you can get the 23 quart. I mean, literally like $20 more. And that is a workhorse that will never fail you. A Presto pressure canner is a workhorse. You don't need an All-American. So that's what I would recommend.
I'm going to jump in here because I saw it since we're talking about them. Somebody mentioned that canners aren't heavy, which makes it great for glass top stoves. Please remember to check your manufacturer before you even think that you can do it on glass top stove. I can, but I called them, and I called them 3 times to get 3 different people to get that answer. So double check that.
Yeah. Don't tell people, well, I can can on mine. Well, you know what? I can walk on my hands. So what?
I don't believe you.
I know, and you shouldn't. But you know, it's not about without pictures. Didn't happen. Without, you know, it doesn't matter what you are doing with your glass top stove because you do not have the same one of the person asking. So without fail, always call the manufacturer first, because there's a lot of them out there that say, oh my God, do not put any kind of pressure canner on it. Okay.
As specific, they say that you can do it, but in between batches, switch burners. Like they say, you not want to do back-to-back batches on the same burner. So I can do it.
Right. That makes sense.
Be careful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you, I will, yes, that will, the chocolate mint will be added on. What kind of cans, glasses do you use to can?
Jars.
I use any jar I can get my hands on. Most of mine are used.
But canning jar.
It's a canning jar though. So don't buy it from Michael's. Don't buy it from Joann Fabrics. Don't buy them from the dollar store. Go to Walmart and pretty much, you know, any place else that sells them in 12 packs. If you can buy a single jar from any place other than a thrift store or a garage sale, I guarantee you it's for crafting and not canning. So, yeah.
Do they really make them different though?
Yeah, they do.
They do? Okay.
Glass is different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Could you please... Best pressure canner is a Presto. If you're going to do a Presto. I think we're repeating questions, so don't do that, you guys. Don't repeat the questions. Okay, so I got a hanging net dehydrator for outdoors. We don't have the humidity that Darcy has, though.
And that'll work, especially if you have air movement. If you don't have air movement, that's going to be the problem. And you should use it on things that are pretty lightweight. I wouldn't put jerky on it. And I wouldn't put really super thick things unless you've got really good dry conditions and you've got good air movement and stuff.
I can do that with cookies. I want you to look underneath me here to that thing where it says my name. Okay. What kind of beans? Any kind of beans. Any kind of beans. Hey, do I preserve a lot of... How do I preserve a lot of cherries?
Freezer.
Yeah.
I dehydrate them.
Yeah.
Pre-pit them though.
Yeah.
And I've got a video on it from last year or the year before?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh no. Okay. So let's see.
And Nana, West Virginia Nana, and most manufacturers would probably say the ones that were made 18 years ago wouldn't be safe to pressure can on because the glass isn't the same as the glass they make now.
Oh, the 18-year-old glass top stoves?
Yeah.
Yeah, duck and run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
she
mean,
does it. If it's not work, I mean, if it's working for her, it's fine. But I would.
yeah,
be
I mean,
not
I just would not
really do
recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just not recommend it unless you talk to the manufacturer, period. I'm new to canning, looking at all the questions regarding ball canning, but is it best to use the preservation website instead? Ball canning has tested recipes. National Center has tested recipes. Bernardin has tested recipes, and so does Pomona's Pectin. Those are the 4, and the EDU sites. So if you go to Georgia, University, those are tested and approved recipes. Anybody making stuff up anyplace else is not tested. So use those. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that sometimes those sites seem contradictory.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that it's just that's how they tested it. That's how
Right.
Ball tested it. That's how.
Well, it's like the example that was brought up earlier, that one says this and one says that. As long as you're following their directions, because their directions are similar, but not the same.
Yeah.
So as long as you're following don't flip flop on the directions, you know
Right.
what I mean?
And don't assume that because it says one thing here, that then you can translate that to everything down the road. Because isn't that way with the lemon juice? That Ball has a couple of fresh lemon juice recipes.
Right.
That you cannot then go do fresh lemon juice and everything else because they did it in those couple of things.
Right. Yeah. Just those couple of things that they did, you're allowed to. And actually, I think Ball is, from what I was told, Ball is going to be re-looking at some of the recipes where that kind of stuff is in play, because they were made aware of the issue. So, but what's one of your food that is neither here or there for you, but you're like, if it comes down to survival, then I'll eat it?
Beans.
I don't stock it unless I eat it. If you stock it without eating it, you're wasting time and money and space.
But I do stock beans, but I have a limited couple of ways that I use it. I would learn to use it and do better with it if I had to, if we got to that point.
Why not learn now before you have
because
to?
I don't like them.
Then don't stock them.
I use them for a couple of things. I would learn how to expand, and I would just eat it. But it's one that's one for me that I'm not going to voluntarily just start eating a bunch of beans right now because. We
have stuff like that too, but it's just because like my husband and I eat very different diets.
Yes.
And so we have rice and beans. I do not consume them, and anything short of I am 98 pounds and about to die, then I might think about eating them. But they just make me feel awful, so I don't consume them regularly.
Right. I love beans. I'm pretty sure I messed up sauerkraut last summer. Once I took the weight off and put it in the fridge, all the liquid got absorbed and it got slimy. I will try again. Any feedback on why?
Sometimes it happens in the fridge. I haven't really figured out why. I think it's just because it tends to pull moisture out of things. I haven't figured out why because it's never happened to me, but I have had several people, probably like 3 or 4 people in the time I've been YouTubing saying that that's happened. I would say just make sure that the lid is on there very tight. Make sure you're checking on it often because if it got to the point where it's slimy, it should have been checked on sooner.
Okay. Am I the only one who feels overwhelmed as I'm getting started with food preservation?
No.
Don't let it overwhelm you. It's fun. You're going to make mistakes. I guarantee you're going to make mistakes. So just jump in, follow trusted, approved methods so that you don't kill anybody. And it's fun. I have fun with it. Do you have fun with it?
I do now, but I can relate to that. It was very overwhelming in the beginning. If you're not going into it with the right mindset, like if you're going into it out of a fear mindset, it can be very overwhelming because you're just like panicking. You're like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to learn how to do it. But if you kind of take a step back and just evaluate the way that you're feeling about it and just be like, okay, I'm very overwhelmed. I'm going to learn how to dehydrate first. And then once you're comfortable, I'm going to learn how to pressure can. And then once you're comfortable with it, you move on to different things.
Yeah.
So that you can develop that skill set one at a time so you're not so overwhelmed.
Right. And remember that it's going to continue to change. So this is not a one and done kind of thing.
And oh, sorry, Lisa.
Go ahead.
You were done. I'm going to support what Anna said about don't do more than you can handle right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to go buy a bunch of food thinking you're going to get through it pretty quickly, and then you get overwhelmed really fast. Do one thing at a time. Just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be many years into it before you can multitask.
Yes.
And that's not even for everybody. I dehydrated basil leaves, but they don't have the nice basil smell I had previously. I think I overdid it. Is that possible? It smells more like tea.
You can overheat it, so you can dry it too hot, but you don't really over dry it. So it could be your batch is different this year. It could be you need to, like, you actually need to crush it up and then smell what it's like and taste what it's like. But year to year, the batches may even be different.
We already answered the how to do sourdough starter, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
I have a video.
Do you have to peel cucumbers when using in chow chow?
I think it depends on the recipe.
Yeah, I would follow the recipe from the trusted source, not Aunt Betty, because Aunt Betty doesn't know what she's talking about. Adding beef to my vegan wraps for flexibility was funny. Okay, yeah. Okay, I want to learn to pressure can. I'm unsure because my English is not the best, and I'm confused when you talk about elevation. I am confused. I live in Illinois.
It will even depend. I was going to say, it would depend on even what city you live in. You need to know that.
You can, on your phone, if you've got
Yeah.
Google Maps on your phone, you can just select your pin right where you're at, and it'll tell you your elevation. Like, you don't even have to like try and figure it out. Like, you can literally, if you have like a Google Maps, just that's where I'm at. I'm
Yep.
1,200 feet elevation.
Okay. I got a Nutrimel as a gift. Congratulations, epic gift. What's the best grain to start with? I would go with soft white wheat that you can learn to make cookies and baked goods, that kind of stuff. The hard red or the hard white is good for the white period is good for cookies, baked goods, that kind of stuff. The red and the hard red and white can be used for bread. I would mix the two of them together. I just put out last month like 4 videos on the different grains, so I would recommend checking that out. Okay, Barbara Stevens, please check out what it says underneath my right by my name right there. Do commercial jellies have more sugar in them than home canned jellies?
Depends
I
on
don't-
the
It's a completely different process, so it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges. It depends. It just depends.
I've taken the better processing control, and trust me, the machines that they use to can that stuff
Insane.
commercially, it's the size of your freaking house.
Yeah.
Like,
And
probably
hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah.
millions.
Yeah. You are not going to replicate what they do there. It's a completely different process. So I wouldn't even bother. Okay. Are jigglers universal? If you call Presto, which is gopresto.com, their phone number's on there, they'll tell you. But for the most part, I have found them to be universal, but I've heard a couple other people say that it didn't fit for them. So call GoPresto to find out, just in case. What are your thoughts on European canning methods? I don't pay attention to them because I live in Michigan. Can you dehydrate garlic?
Yes.
Will you move out of your house?
Yes. I do it in the house and it doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers other people. And so you can do it outside because it can be overwhelming, but I don't have a problem with it. But yeah, do it. And and if you're growing your own, you do not have to cure it before you dehydrate it.
Right.
Oh, good to know.
Right. No. But I'm just letting it all cure anyway.
Mm.
And
You
with
do
the
have to
humidity,
harvest it, though.
You
huh?
have to harvest it.
You have
Yeah.
to harvest
You do have to harvest it first.
Oh, and fun fact,
Is that like the elderberry?
You have to. Yeah, you can't just look at it and make it happen.
We discovered that one yesterday after we did the video. We went to harvest and we're like, all right, next year's garlic is planted.
You also do not have to peel your garlic. Take your papers off if you want, but you can even leave the papers on there if you want. Just take the outer ones off that might be dirty. But I just take the papers off. I throw my cloves into the food processor, rough chop them, and dry them. I do not peel them.
Oh, so you do rough chop them. Okay, I was going to say,
Yeah, no. Yeah, you have
how
to break
long
them
does
down.
it take to do
Yeah, you have
cloves?
to break
Oh my
them down.
God.
You don't have to peel them. You just
Yeah.
let it be there.
Okay. For my fermenting queen, how do I make hot sauces?
You need a little.
Yes. I take the whole peppers and whatever recipe that I'm making, I do not puree them ahead of time. It is such a pain in the butt to try and keep a puree underneath the brine level. You're setting yourself up for a yeast overgrowth. So just take the peppers, whatever else you're adding to it, onions, garlic, blah, blah, blah. Make sure it's in there, submerged underneath the brine. of roughly between about a 2.5% salt ratio underneath the brine. Bada bing, bada boom, and wait. And then when you're all done, that's when you puree it.
Sweet. Is it true that fermented foods help ease inflammation in the body?
Absolutely. It helps to adjust your gut microbiome, and that is what helps to alleviate your inflammation. It's not instant, like it's not just like a pill. It's one of those things you just give your body what it needs, and it will start to kind of heal itself. It's not a pill, like.
Okay.
But it worked.
How long do powdered dehydrated foods last? And should I add a silica packet? Yeah.
The optimal storage for powders is 6 to 12 months, just like with spices. So if you can still open the jar and identify it by smell, then you're okay. If you can't really tell what it is anymore, it's not as pungent. You need to look at doing it, using it faster. But there is no, like, it will last for this long. I mean, it's going to depend. And you don't need to add a silica packet unless you have problems with moisture. And if your humidity is high and you're in and out of the jar, it can help stop clumping. But there's a couple other things that you can do. If you go to my website and use the search feature and look for clumping, there are about 5 or 6 different ways that you can help stop clumping in powders.
Excellent. Okay, I am finally trying to get caught up on these. How can I make dehydrated onion soup mix the healthy way?
Healthy? What would be unhealthy about it already?
Dehydrate onions and blend them into a powder?
Well, the soup mix.
The soup mix.
I know. So
but I don't know what's unhealthy in the soup mix that.
Well, I mean, if you're buying from the company at the grocery store, there's other stuff in there. Yeah. But like I make my own onion soup mix, and I use. You can pick your bouillon of choice. Quite honestly, I use Thrive's diced onions because they're like little White Castle onions, right? Or just finely chopped, dehydrated onions. A little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, and I can't remember, and it's done. So I don't know what you're trying to eliminate from it, but yeah. Okay, what's the best book for learning fermentation?
The Art of Fermentation by Mr. Sandor Katz is the best one to learn the techniques. It has everything you could possibly think of in there. That's the best way to learn the techniques, in my opinion.
Okay. Hang on, please.
Art of Fermentation.
The Art of Fermentation.
By Sandor Katz, Katz. You can find it everywhere. It's a big, giant orange book.
Okay. We're going to go fast and furious here because we're down to 15 minutes.
Lightning round.
Okay, so somebody asked about canning with olive oil. No, you cannot. No, I hit the wrong thing. What should I start with first on food preservation? Fermenting, canning, or dehydrating, or freeze drying?
Whatever you have access to and you're most comfortable with.
There you go. Is the honey with the garlic thing fermented at all?
Yes.
That was easy. I have MS and need to eat large quantities of dark leafy greens. I'm growing this jar. How long does it usually last canned until you open the jar?
Yeah, and you can also dehydrate it and make powder.
Yeah.
And put that
for large quantity. If you have to eat that large a quantity, I would definitely
add it to everything that you eat.
Yeah, seriously, brownies. Hello. Yeah.
Hey, stop that. That's mine.
That's Darcy's favorite thing. She sneaks yucky veggies in her brownies. Don't ever go to her house for brownies. Okay. Using canned crushed tomatoes and tomato paste as a base for my spaghetti sauce. I have pressure canned before. Is a safe to water bath can. I don't know. You'd have to look at the safe and approved recipe that you are using for that. And then apologies. What's your suggestion for the best beginner canning foods? Water. And I'm not being facetious. Water. Okay. Do a test run of your canner. Try canning jars full of water that have no lids on them, so you're not wasting the lids. And, when you're comfortable with that process, add food.
And from a beginning canner, most of the beginner canner, chicken has been the easiest thing that I've ever done. Raw chicken.
Or beans. But raw. I mean, if you like canned chicken, it's
cut it and put it in and go.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raw meat. As long as it's approved. You can order them. Okay, sorry, that wasn't a question. What is the name of the website that sells canner replacement parts? ereplacementparts.com. I have had amazing luck with you. They will sit with you on the phone and tell you where to look for the model numbers on your Presto, because Presto is crackheads and they put the numbers on all different places of the canners. So they'll walk you through everything that you need. And it's a great website. They're a great company. Also, GoPresto.com is the Presto company. And I've heard their customer service is really good. If you grow your own onions, do you need to cure them before you dehydrate?
Nope.
Okay. Best low price vacuum sealer and why? I think we covered that earlier. So I'm going to ask you to go back and watch the beginning of the video. I love chocolate mint, but mine all died. Where can I find more? I got mine from a friend. Okay, I'm not even close. Okay, can you dehydrate lettuce?
Yes.
Why would
I
you?
wouldn't, because green powder. I wouldn't rehydrate it and expect to have salad, but I put it in green powder.
Okay. Is there a best way to preserve mint?
Dry it and freeze it.
Yeah. Fermented Homestead, what do you think of Mylar bags?
I like them.
Okay, that was easy. I have
They're
a
not
food
good at
fair-
pest deterrent though.
They're what?
They're not a good pest deterrent though. If you got pests, don't like they'll just eat right through it.
Yeah. No, it's best to put the Mylar in buckets that are sealed.
Yep.
If mice even have one tiny inkling that there is food in something,
Oh yeah.
short of steel, they'll get into it.
Yeah, they'll even chew through buckets. Like
I've seen
had, like
trash cans.
I've had like the
Yeah.
spice lids. They chewed right through the
Mhm.
hard plastic spice lids.
There was a I did a video a while back, and she told me how basically the farmer went through, sold the farm, and they tore everything up and built a school. And so it disrupted all of the rodents, who then nailed her house. They chewed through the lids to the water bottles. They decimated her pantry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I would have burned the house down.
Move.
That just, oh my God. Yeah. So mice it's no joke. I have finally, I'll own the evilness. I've had it. And this year is really bad. And I have to do the weighing. Are weasels better or mice? Well, mice don't kill my chickens. Weasels do, So I noticed a whole bunch of mice this year because the weasels are gone now. And there is one that is doing laps from the pig pen through my garden to someplace over near the garage. And I'm not kidding you. We don't have rats, but this is the biggest mouse I've ever seen in my life. He's fat. He can't move. I can see him, He is so fat. And I'm like, I finally laid down sticky traps in my barn. And, when I put the chickens to bed at night, I put sticky traps down because I'm like, I try to do it humanely, but they don't leave me any choice. And I just have to make them gone. So mice suck. They suck. Okay, I got that out of my system.
I'm going to jump in here because in case we miss it, Organic Silver Moon Designs, there is not going to be an approved method to can.
I was just looking at that one. That's dangerous.
Yeah,
They're
Can what?
Somebody was asking about or talking about canning impossible meat. There's so much junk added to that I wouldn't do it. Not that you can't eat it, but I would not can it.
I wouldn't eat it either, but that's a side point.
I hadn't gotten there yet. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
You don't even want me to go there. Yeah.
In case we missed it before we caught
Yeah,
up.
it's dangerous.
Yeah, you don't even want me to
Very
go there.
dangerous.
Life straws are a great option. Life straws are a great option. They are not the be all end all, but they're a great portable option.
Yep.
So Sawyer doesn't have a life straw, but they do have a very portable water filtration system. So check that out.
Life straws are all inclusive.
Yep.
To me, easier just to pick it up and go and run with
It
it.
is.
Sawyers have to be put together and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're better, I think. But
Sawyers
Life
are
straws
better.
great for.
Yeah. And life straws will expire. Yeah. Okay. So bay leaves and cinnamon sticks are really a great theory, but they're a great theory. I don't want farm cats. That's called coyote bait. They got my strawberries. The buggers got my strawberries. Yep. Let's see. How do you get rid of raccoons? 22.
I was gonna say the same thing. You just sit out there on the porch, lay down some bait with your 22, and
Seriously,
sit
just
there
kick
for a while.
back. Yep. Yeah, pressure canning can be very calming and relieve stress because you know that you're putting stuff up and, making stuff safe for your family. So, yeah, I don't have bird feeders. I have birds. Okay, so it is 3:54. So tell me what you got going on. Darcy has a video coming out right after this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mushrooms, freeze-drying mushrooms.
Mushrooms, shrooms, baby. I love
Yep.
mushrooms. Okay.
Yep. I live with a hobbit. I have to keep them stocked.
There you go. And Anna, what are you doing?
I'm sitting in a parking lot waiting to go on to my next destination. I'm giving a talk and going to a little farm store function.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I just realized you're not wearing a headband.
I'm not. I haven't been wearing it for I've been doing my hair, yo.
Shut
Like,
up.
look at this.
And you're wearing
I
a dress.
know. It's a
So
last
what's
you got it all-
happened to you?
No. I turned into a girl.
You did.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It
Oh my
happened like
God.
a month and a half ago. Like, oh my God.
We're a little slow on the uptake. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. A little slow on the uptake. No video for me today. I'm going to sit here and work. So yeah, hopefully maybe I'll have a video up tomorrow. We'll see. But okay, so everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll be back in a month. This is fun. We always have a good time doing this.
Word.
And I hope that you all have a spectacular day and stay cool.
I am cool.
Oh, shut up. What do you say, Dart?